Hello and welcome to Courage Haven. Today is going to be another courage therapy sesh. This one's going to be a little personal. I have a friend, and people say he's stupid, he's dumb, he's not right in the head, he's fucking retarded, that kind of thing. And sometimes when I'm joking with my friends, they'll be like, "What are you smoking crack?" When they say something like way out, and you're like, "What?" It's just part of sense of humor. But of course, he knows my joking, and he knows that I'm just playing around. Because I would never. I mean, look what I do. What would that say about me? As a person. So, and one of these people's is his mom, just like when you start to give up hope and give up faith and that kind of thing. But I have two grown girls, um 22 and 24, and where one of them I had just kind of drifted off because she needed to learn that she's not always right and life is not always going to go her way, and that sometimes people need to learn the hard way. And she did learn the hard way. And then in my mind, I'm saying, well, one day she will realize that her family was doing and saying this stuff because they care about her and they were worried about her, and nothing less than. But this friend, I've been hearing this for years. I'll be like, "What are you, retarded?" As in a joking way. And he'd be like, "Yeah, maybe," And then I would redact it. I would be like, "That's not cool, I was kidding." He's like, "I know." I was like, "But don't say maybe. You could say dur, it'd be all silly about it." But that's where he's starting to get into what they're saying. And he's starting to believe things that they're saying about him. And, people do mess up things in life and they make bad decisions. But as I said time and time again, that's how you learn, that's how you grow. And that shouldn't, your decisions, unless they're like repeatedly, like what you're doing and you're still, part of him it does. But, he's in his 20s, but I think maybe inside he's got that big child. I've got that big child. I think everybody has that child inside of them. But when people start to lose hope, especially, with kids, you don't lose hope on your kids. I mean, you may say this or that, the whole reverse psychology thing to kind of open their eyes, but you never really mean it. You're just trying to make them stronger as a person to help them grow. But when people say it and they actually do mean it, and like, I don't know, he's fucking retarded, I don't know, he's fucking weird, or, whatever. Really? I mean, yes, I've said that about people in the past. But then I've also thought about it, and I was like, wait, Rebel, that's just not cool. That's not cool. And, I accepted that wasn't cool. We're not perfect. We're not a perfect science. We have flaws. But that's what makes us unique. Because we're not perfect. And because we can mess up and make mistakes. Because we're human. He's not retarded. He catches on a little slower than the average. Maybe I do too in some areas. I'm not going to say I don't. I don't think I know everything. I never want to know everything because how exhausting would that be? Then everybody's going to be coming to you. Come on. No. That's stress 101. He's not stupid. He's not dumb. Maybe he's got a lot going on in his head and feels like he can't talk to nobody about it because nobody's going to care or understand or even listen. Been there, done that. But then again, haven't we all? At one point in time? Or you're having a conversation with somebody and you're trying to tell somebody something and it just doesn't seem like they are really listening to you or paying attention. So you just stop talking about it altogether. You know, if you feel like you need to be toxic around somebody, then don't be around that person because you know what it's going to do to them and you know what's going to come out. And, when you're around that person. Separate yourself for a little while. Think about what you're doing or saying and think that maybe there's a different way to handle it or a different way to approach it or address it. But to blatantly just say, without joking around, and you can tell when someone's joking, you're retarded. What? You gotta be retarded for it. You can tell. And you don't mean retarded. You just mean but and a lot of people take offense to that word, but you really shouldn't. It's a word. When it comes to children or disabled, retarded is not the word for that. It is disabled or restricted. So anybody who takes offense to that that's kind of dumb. I think that's kind of dumb. But there could always be a different approach to something. Or maybe, just maybe, you can sit down and talk to him and fully listen and say, I'm listening. You have my undivided attention. Unload everything that you got going on. Let's talk about this and see how we can handle or resolve it. How can I help? I don't know how I can help until you tell me. Listen. Listening could be more valuable than $1 million to somebody. You never know. And if you listen fully, without cutting the person off or trying to butt in there, just listen until they're done to the end. You might be surprised that maybe he's a pure heart and soul and he's confused. He's lost. He's fogged or conflicted in his mind. Talk to people and listen because it will make more of a difference than you could possibly know. Thank you for tuning in, and I love you all. Rebel signing out.